Today's show is brought to you by BarkBox.com. Get one free extra month of BarkBox at getbarkbox.com/amps.
Neck-throughs, guitars, they're like a guy that won't have a beer with you.
I want to hear what's pushing the notes.
Freddie King and B.B. King, Albert King, and let's not forget Burger King.
I don't want to blow my knuckle out.
Stainless steel is the work of the devil.
These go to 11.
From the East Amplification Tone Labs in Baltimore, Maryland, it's the Amps and Axes Show. With your hosts, Jeff the Godfather of Low Wattage Amps Bober and Mick Marcelino.
Well, good day to you, Mr. Bober.
Good day to you, Mr. Marcelino.
We have
You ready for the arc yet?
Yeah, well, I was going to say I was working on the arc, and then it started raining, and I'm like, well, I didn't get the notification early enough.
Right.
So, but I'm still trying to get 2 marsupials together. That's a pretty tough find, especially in Maryland.
That's right.
Anyway. Hey, you guys, man, here's the funny part. We're getting a lot of comments now. I'm a little scared every time I see that thing come up because I'm like, God, please don't say I love your show, but no, we can't.
Well, it's better than saying I love your butt.
Well,
then again, yeah.
That's a different email.
I'm not saying.
It's a different show. What am I saying?
Different show, right.
Anyway, thank you for the comments. Please send more. Look, I understand sometimes we rub people a different way, and that's okay. And look, if you want to voice your opinion, that's fine. But definitely let us know, if you're digging it, if you're not digging it, however, I don't care. It's good feedback no matter what. And, me and Jeff, or Jeff and I, however you want to put it.
Me and you.
This thing can't happen without you guys, and we can't thank you enough for that.
That's right. And you, your friends, everybody else, like I always say, relatives, whatever, exes, hopefully you're friendly with an ex and, hey, listen to this. So, and some aren't, but, anyway, we couldn't do it without you. All your friends, tell them, you got to check this out because they're just crazy. And sometimes they bring you cool stuff, too.
That's right. And make sure that you go to our website, ampsandaxes.com. And give a little love to the sponsors on the right-hand side. Not going to try to sell you anything right now, but, they're all there. Check them out, man.
Right.
And when you do...
Click.
That's right. When you do, tell your friends that you heard it. Tell them that you heard it here first.
That's right. And, again, today we're probably going to bring you a first. I would be almost sure of it. But, I tell you what, we like bringing the first, too, because there are so many good players out there that most of us don't get to hear about, and sometimes it is an unfortunate, and sometimes they're brought to our attention. And, this person was brought to our attention and, I said, there's plenty of good players out there. Our guest is probably a little bit past the good player, into a style that I really kind of think is pretty amazing.
Wish he lived closer.
Yeah, I wish he did too. I'd go see him because, used to go see somebody else that played like this, but he is long gone off the face of the earth. So we're going to take a pause for the cause, and we're going to come back with a guitarist. I'm going to just say in the style of Danny, and we'll leave it there. At least that's what I think. Mm-hmm. But he's probably more diverse than that because most good players are. So pause for the cause. Come back with our guest of the week, Mr. TJ Scarlett.
For our listeners only, BarkBox is offering an opportunity to receive one free extra month. What is BarkBox? BarkBox delivers 4 to 6 natural treats and toys curated around a surprise theme each month for your dog. All edibles are made in the USA or Canada, and 100% of the products are tested on their own animals. When you go to order, tell them how big your dog is. Then choose a plan. 1, 6, or 12 months plans are available, and you can cancel at any time. Bark boxes are shipped free on the 15th of each month. And if your dog does not like something in the box, we'll send you something they'll love for free, because they're all about dog happiness. So to receive 1 month free, go to getbarkbox.com/amps. Again, that's getbarkbox.com/amps to receive an extra month of BarkBox for free.
This is Jonathan Moody of GHS Strings, and you're listening to Amps and Axes.
All right, and we are back as promised with our guest of the week, Mr. TJ Scarlett. TJ, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. How are you guys doing?
Doing great, man. Doing great. Doing the cast, so we're doing great.
Perfect. Perfect.
This is the easiest hour of my life.
Right.
It's all the other hours that add up to my misery.
I feel your pain.
So I Jeff, I always have a little bit of a story.
Yes,
just a little bit, and I got contacted through our website, and I want to put this out there, that if you know somebody or you want to come on the show and you're out there and you're doing your thing, definitely submit it in. And there was a couple of songs that came across with the email, and I listened and I was like, this guy's cooking. I was like, I gotta check this out further. And then I was like, wow, this is cool. And we've done a couple of these where it's like, I don't want to say it, local guys, but it's kind of like this local thing, even though when you look at their schedule, it's pretty crazy. And I said, we got to have them on. And,
well, there you go.
And then here we are. This is how it works, people.
Here we are.
Awesome, man. That's cool that you dig the plan. I appreciate that.
Oh, yeah. And I was checking out, now, let me see. If I'm going to get it wrong, I'll get it wrong completely. It's not, is it a Wayne guitar or is it a Charvel?
It's a Wayne, but Wayne, when was it? When Wayne Charvel stopped, when he sold the name to Jackson, he could no longer call them Charvel. So I think he started making them again in '99.
Yeah, and we've had him and Michael on the show. So and I just was like, and when I saw that come out, they were very reasonably priced when they first came back on the market. And then Michael went, "Hey, we can charge $3,000 for these." And that's what they're doing.
I did not pay that for mine.
I've noticed that their prices have gone to where it's right there with all the custom shop stuff and everything, which it rightfully should be, because you're getting it built by either Wayne or Michael or both, and that there's a lot of years there of expertise building for.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're rock machines. I tell you what, they're easy to play. I love those Wayne guitars.
Yeah, they do it right.
I have not seen that, Mick. I did see TJ playing two other different kind of guitars, but we'll get into that.
Yes,
we'll get into that.
As we always do.
As we always do. We're gonna take a little ride in the Wayback Machine first, and just quickly find out where Mr. TJ Scarlett was born and raised, and how you got to do what you're doing. So give us some history.
I was born in the Bay Area, born in Berkeley, California, and lived part of my life out in California, moved up to Nevada, and moved to Arkansas. And that was back in, 94, 95. Okay. And been here since.
So you're in Arkansas now?
Northwest Arkansas. Only part of Arkansas that's a good place to live.
It's the farthest away from the middle of the country.
That's right.
Hello, Arkansas.
It's closer to the West Coast. Yeah, there you go.
We're kind of the snobbish attitude up here in Northwest Arkansas. It seems like it's I don't know. It just makes sense up here to live up here for me.
Well, cool. What did anything particular bring you there? I guess your parents, maybe?
No, and my family, my dad's side of the family's from back here, so they were living back here, and I was passing through, and I stopped into Fayetteville, and it just was a great area that had a live music scene that was like no other that I've ever seen. The players were great. It was all original music. It was just it was a lot going on. It was a really cool vibe, and it reeled me in.
Wow.
Well, look at that.
So you said your parents were there, so obviously at some point in time they moved out of the Bay Area or wherever else you were, and you caught back up to them?
Yeah, my dad was born out in San Francisco, and my mom's from Chicago, so they met out in the Bay Area. They moved back here to be closer to my grandfather in his latter years, and so that's kind of one by one. There's three of us, and we all moved back here to be kind of closer to them. But lo and behold, it had just such a great music scene here that I fit right in.
Wow, that's really cool. Now, you mentioned great music scene. What got you into music in the first place? Family musical or?
No, man, I come from a family of athletes, and I'm the only one that plays music in our family. And Kiss, man, it was Kiss.
There you go.
There you go. It's one of the three.
I got my mom's the coolest in the world. When I think I was in second grade, she bought me Kiss Alive 2, and that was it.
It was either that one or Kiss Alive.
Yeah,
had both of them. Yeah, had both.
Oh, of course you did.
Yeah.
If you have one, you have the other. I mean, you have
to get the other, right?
Exactly.
You got to have all three. That's just essential. You have to have Kiss Alive 1, 2, and 3 in your collection.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't even know there was a third.
There is a third. Yes, wow. There is.
Yeah. Third with Bruce Kulick.
Yeah. We've had him on the show.
Yeah, we've had him on too. Yeah.
He's fantastic.
Shows you what a Kiss fan I am. I didn't know there was 3 Kiss Alives.
I knew about it. I do not have the third one, but I have the first 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because the booklet alone is worth the money that you pay for, the albums.
Oh, you bet.
Cool. So when did you get bit by the bug, and what did you start playing on? Was it guitar right away?
Yeah, I started playing guitar. I started when I was, I don't know, like 10, but I kind of fell out of it. I didn't have a very good teacher, and I was learning on this big old acoustic that had huge strings, piano wire, and I was disillusioned with it, so I kind of let it go, and then I picked it back up again when I was 15 and kind of ran with it from there.
Okay. You probably got older and were able to strangle it a little bit harder and, bend it to your will. And,
yeah. Well, I finally went the electric route. Started playing electric, and, Judas Priest British Steel came out, and I was like, that's what I got to do.
Well, it's substantially different than what I'm hearing you do now. But what? So did you like cut lawns and deliver papers to get the money for your first electric?
I think it's funny you said my first electric was a Height Deluxe that I paid $25 for, and I still have it.
Height.
Yeah.
Height. Wow, that's a new name.
HEIT. And my mom was so, I think, excited that I was going down that path that she said if I stuck with it for a year, she'd get me a guitar. And so I think my first guitar I still have that. It's a Charvel. It was a Charvel, just a nice. slap the Floyd Rose on it, and just like every other kid in the 80s did.
Wow. Now the Height guitar, no way in the world was it Japanese, because they say height all the time. For everything. So it was probably like, hello, good job.
Could be. I thought it was just because of the action, the height of the action.
That's right.
Well, see, this is so funny. We've done, this is number 232 episode wise. We've talked to every walk of musical life that you can imagine. And every guy has the same. It is so weird, isn't it, Jeff? I mean, we're really starting to see these neat patterns where it's either Elvis, Beatles, or Kiss.
Yeah, for sure.
Is the influence. The big three. And then, of course, everybody, their first guitar was the most discouraging thing ever to play.
Oh, yeah.
And it's amazing that we got the guitar players that we got in those years.
Right. Yeah, I mean, some were fortunate enough to... Some were fortunate enough to get things that were actually playable, but the ones that really stuck it out through the piano wire and half-inch action, those are the guys that had the perseverance to really push on through, and that's great, and that's amazing. Because
our younger players, they're like, well, I got an LTD, and my dad got me the PV amp, that was like 10 watts, or the Ibanez amp, whatever it is. And it's like, you can go up to that thing and for, a pretty good, reasonable price, and it plays. It plays really easy, So it's definitely neat when we talk to the guys that had the half-inch action and stuff.
You could walk into a store now and buy a $99 guitar that's probably better than my first 3 guitars.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
When I was coming up, it's we have this discussion all the time. It's so fantastic that it's actually doable nowadays.
Yeah, and the problem with that, the only other side that's wrong is that we're losing guitar players.
I know.
What the hell is wrong with people?
Go figure. No determination, man.
Yeah, I mean,
back in my day,
it's like, we used to have to walk uphill both ways in snow, 6 feet, and now it's like I can take ice hockey skates and get to school quicker, and nobody wants to do it, and it's just so weird, It's we're trying to teach it, people. You got to go. It's easy now.
Well, and it's different. It's a lot different today too, because it's all, everything's right there at your fingertips. You pull up YouTube and you can learn anything you want to learn. Whereas back then, you're a punk kid back then. There's no internet, there's no nothing. And if you wanted to learn how to play, lay it down. My gosh, the hours and hours and hours I put into figuring that song out.
Yeah. And here's the thing about that song. 'Cause see, I have that song and I tried to learn it. The recording is kind of little too distorted, it's like it's a good recording, but it's not a great recording. So there's some notes in there you're going, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what chord he's playing. I have no idea. And Warren Demartini did some crazy stuff when he plays some crazy chords when he's playing. And it's like, you want to know it now? No problem. You can get a program called Guitar Pro. And there's 5,000 tabs that are exactly how it should be played, and it will play it for you.
And that's don't you think that kind of deters away from players today a bit?
I think that what you lose is some of the originality, because when you're dropping that proverbial needle, I know this is old man talk, but when you're you're learning that one phrase over and over and over, and then you start to see those patterns develop off of other songs. I think the creative side, can be unlocked a lot easier. Now it's like, well, I can do this arpeggio, and if I can do it at 250 beats a minute, then I don't really have to have too much originality.
Yeah.
And it's weird. And we were talking about this last week, Jeff, when we were saying that we're starting to see some of these guys, the Blackberry Smokes and Greta Van Fleet and The Answer and bands like this that have kind of gone back to old school. But it's a really weird, dynamic. It's like, either I blaze at 800 miles an hour, or I'm, Led Zeppelin circa 1969. Right, it's like that in between, there are some hair bands, you got the Steel Panther, but that's like a joke, but it's, he's a great guitar player, Satchel. Yeah. But, that middle ground is kind of like not there, like what we had in the 80s.
Yeah. And I think the middle ground, it comes from the creativity, and the lack of middle ground comes from lack of creativity. Maybe I don't know. It's
it's funny you guys say that there's a middle ground, because that's kind of what we did with the Honeyjack album. We both are fans of Kiss. We're both fans of arena rock. We're both fans of 70s easy listening and all the good stuff that comes out of there. And there's none of that really out on the market today. There's no one doing that stuff, and so it's kind of a mixture, amalgamation of all that thrown into one is what we were trying to go for on that.
And again, like I said, it's different than what I thought when I was looking into you. I thought you were known for, so let's okay. So we went from Kiss influence, and then into electric guitar. When did you get together with a bunch of guys and start, making coherent music together? And what was that? What style? Was it old school rock, or were you going for something different?
Man, that was probably when I moved to Northwest Arkansas. We tried our best when I lived out in Nevada. we just gave it our best shot. We didn't. The music scene out there is just not. There's no country, there's no middle ground. There's no country, there's no middle ground. There's basically heavy rock when I was out there, and the heavy rock stuff at that point, I was kind of out of. I wasn't really into it anymore, and the hairband thing, I kind of grew out of that, and so. We had a group of guys that played back then, but it never really worked because there was never anybody to show us how to really do it right. And that's one of the things that attracted me to here is when you came back here, there's just such an abundance of great musicians that live in this area, in this tri-state area, that, man, they're just willing to share with you. They're willing to help you out. They're willing to, share their knowledge with you. Nothing's hidden. It was just great. So when I got back here, I mean, I think that's when I actually played with guys that knew how to play.
Okay. And what did you start playing? Because, I'm seeing you, the things I'm seeing, it's like, a picker, but you keep referring to, old school and things like that. So how did you transition?
Man, I started playing in a cover band, obviously. And, we would it was a 3-piece. It was kind of a power trio. And so we did things that other people didn't do. That was my goal. So we'd do, we'd throw out Baba O'Reilly, but we might throw out LTD, Back in Love. We'd throw in just anything you could possibly think of that would be a curveball. That's what we did.
I like
Very cool. Yeah, I love it. I love it. So what kind of gear had you graduated to at that point?
I had, at that point, my Charvel guitar that I got when I was younger, and I had a Marshall Lead 100 MOSFET. You remember those?
Oh, yeah.
I do, yes.
And I had one of those.
Was that the Richie Fleegler years, Jeff?
No, that was that was Valve State.
Valve State, that's right.
That was the Valve State era. Yeah.
It was cool. It was a cool amp. From there, I got rid of that, and oh geez, I mean, I've got a pretty good collection of amps at the moment, but I kind of went to blackface Fenders at that point.
Okay.
And then actually after that went to the Buddha Super Drive 18.
Oh wow!
I wonder who built that.
I know.
Some guy. I know.
I saw that and I was like, how cool is that? Man, I loved that amp.
Well, thanks.
That amp just kicked butt, man. That thing, I traded it when I kind of got into playing more country. I had traded that head for a Hot Rod DeVille and a Hot Rod Deluxe.
Okay.
So, pretty good trade. I got 2 amps out of it, but I do wish I had that back.
Yeah, they were. I gotta say, they were really great amps, man. So many people really fell in love with that Super Drive series.
They'd make you an honest player. I have a 45 that makes you honest.
Oh yeah.
And I would have loved to have the 45. The 18 was such a cool amp. I mean, I can only imagine the headroom of the 45.
It's insane. All my pets, they leave the house. My kids, my neighbors call. They're like, "What's going on down there? Are you killing somebody?" I'm like, "No, just airing it out a little bit."
I'll have to find there's a thing floating around the internet somewhere that I did an instrumental with that Buddha amp. I'll have to find that and send it to you. It was on back in the MySpace days. But it was really cool. I remember people saying that sounds incredible. It's like, that's the Buddha, man. It's killer.
Nice. Yeah, I'd love to hear that, man. That'd be really fun.
Yeah, I'll find
so
it.
You said you moved on from that into the Hot Rod Deluxe and DeVille when you started playing country. Was there a reason to leave like the classic-ish rock thing or the rock thing, or just the fun, we're going to do anything we want kind of thing, into country? What was the move? Was it conscious, or
I just got bit by that country bug, man. There's some guys back here that are just, I mean, monster telly pickers. And there was a club that we used to play over in this place called Eureka Springs, and these guys would come over after they were playing the shows at night. We'd be playing there on the weekends. They'd come down. The owner would shut the door at 2:00, and man, we'd pick until the sun came up. And these guys were so cool. They'd be like, yeah, hey, I'll show you a bunch of this country picking if you show me a lot of that sweet picking and whatever. I said, hey, deal. That's no problem.
That's so funny.
Wow.
They were totally interested in that. I mean, it was just 2 different worlds that came together, and I just got bit by that bug, that telly bug. I couldn't get enough of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was seeing when I was doing a little bit of research, and it's like, I kind of think this guy has probably heard the name Danny before, and maybe some Albert, and
yeah, man, all those guys.
Oh man,
many trips to Nashville, man. I really dig going to Nashville, making trips to Nashville, and kind of going to Roberts and catching some really classic country and the hot players that are down there on Broadway. And you just kind of go down there and absorb everything you can and kind of bring it back and make it something of your own.
Wow,
that's the way to do it.
It is the way to do it. And I tell you what I was seeing. It's like it for me. I would be surprised if you could walk into, now maybe sometimes you can, but walk into any place and find somebody that was impressing you more than something that you could do right now. Because I was watching you playing, and it's like, wow, this guy really has that style down.
It's fun, man. So yeah, it's just I don't know, man. It's kind of like, when that rock bug bites you and you jump into that, and when that country bug bites you, it's just something you can't get away from.
It's a little surprising to me that you didn't always do the country thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
usually the transitions are not,
right. You're not, you don't wind up, you could go into the genre, but you don't wind up being like the master of that style. Exactly. But it seems like you've accomplished that pretty well from what I was seeing. So, kudos to you, man.
Yeah.
Thanks. I appreciate that, man. I love playing that stuff. It's fun.
So when did you put like some guys together to do that? And, I want to get the transition from Honeyjack to Kings, and when each of them existed, or do they both still coexist? Or
yeah, we still do it. It's to make money in the music world today, you got to be diversified. And so, the Uncrowned Kings is a band that we play. It's just straight covers. I mean, we just do classic rock cover, but we do a lot of dance stuff, and it's fun. It's a casino band. But I did incorporate a lot of stuff into that band with those guys that did not play country, that, once you kind of exposed them to it, they really dug it, and we started adding stuff to the set. And again, it was just kind of taking, Johnny Cash tunes and kind of, Glenn Campbell tunes and amping them up a little bit, kind of giving them a steroid shot and kind of take them in a different direction. And, it gets people's attention. It's people connect to it because I think they know those songs, and then they hear them being done in a picker's version of it, and they dig it even more.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and so that
cool. Gives them new life. Gives them new life.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was what I kind of, when Mark and I started writing songs, I just kind of took that approach and said, okay, look, I like the rock stuff, I like the country stuff, and I'm going to kind of mold the two together and see if this works.
Now, that was for Kings or Honeyjack?
Honeyjack. The Honeyjack.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
So that's where you hear kind of like, there's a B bender on that, the Outcast tune, and it kind of adds a little bit different approach to something, hopefully something that people haven't heard before. It's kind of a rock song, but I'm using a telly in it and using some country stuff within the mix.
Well, hell yeah. Well, you think about it, there was this guy named Jimmy Page that used a telly for the longest time. People were like, he played a Les Paul, and it was like, hey, there's a couple albums that there was no Les Paul.
Yeah, you bet, man. You bet. Those tellies, I mean, shoot, man, I want to go and see Cinderella for the first time playing, and Tom Kiefer was rocking on a telly. I was like, well, that's different.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. For some reason, I don't remember him on the telly, but yeah, that's
in the
really
later.
cool. I mean,
in the later years, yes.
Was it?
Yeah, because they really started taking a heavy blues type approach to their stuff. The first albums, I think he was playing a Les Paul, right? Am I wrong or right with that?
Well, he was playing Les Paul, but then when you'd see him live, he'd always break out the telly, and Jeff LaBar would always have a Strat that he'd bring out.
I got you.
With single.
Well,
so like, well,
that was for
cool.
That was for the curve in his spine. Needed a rest.
Right. Right. Well, who was I just going to say that was you said Page. I forgot where I was going to go with the telly thing. Oh, I know where I was going to go. I mean, the telly is. I mean, I've always said it's my desert island guitar, and of course I'd love to have one of everything, but the telly is really cool, fun to play, comfortable to play, and it's so versatile. I mean, that was kind of the guitar that. Robin Ford at times used more than his Gibson.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And, the Robin Ford tone, ain't a typical Picker's telly tone, but man, he got Robin Ford out of a telly, you know. Yeah. So it's whatever you can get out of it, however it works for the player, you know. It's a really versatile guitar.
Albert Collins, I mean, look at him. He's just
totally.
Yeah. He played a telly his whole career. And Kenny Neal, he's been playing a telly ever since time I see the Neal family or Kenny Neal. He's always playing his old telly.
Wow.
Well, you know, our good buddy Greg Kalk, he that every time we see him, it's like there's a telly, and it's not necessarily a Fender. It's other companies that make them look like tellies, but he loves that guitar, man.
Well, he's just awesome too.
Oh, he's crazy. He's crazy. He's a crazy player, and he's crazy. So it just makes it double the fun. You know,
I dig his approach though. That insane approach where it's so different from everybody else. You're like, man, it's a breath of fresh air every time you listen to him.
Yeah, for sure. Now speaking of tellies, you have a couple of different T styles. Mm-hmm. What we usually refer to them as, or most people refer to them as. Let me see. One of them is it a Palir or Palar or
I guess it's Paler.
Paler.
Now, okay. John Paler's from Louisiana, so he might pronounce it different, but yeah, it's a Paler telly that I have, and I love it, man. He makes great guitars. I mean, they're just amazing. I actually have a few of his.
How did you come across him?
On the internet somehow. I think it was through Facebook. He was doing some stuff. I think he had heard some of my stuff too, and kind of connected that way, and just kind of struck up a friendship from there.
Wow.
Okay,
I like that.
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
Cool dude, man. Super cool guy. I mean, very very customer oriented, and just a good guy.
Excellent. So you have more than one. Anything in particular that you have done for you in them? Any custom mods or anything?
No, just I like that soft V on the neck, and I just the vintage pickups. I think those are vintage Porter pickups, or custom Porters that are based off of a 50 something telly pickup. They're great, man. They scream.
Awesome. And did I also see you with a Kelton Suede?
Man, I had one of those, and I got rid of that one. I sold that. I wasn't really a huge. I shouldn't say anything bad about it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the guitar. I mean, it just didn't fit right for me. The neck was a little too thin, and
really,
it just wasn't. It just didn't click with me.
Yeah, I have never put my hands on one, so I really don't know. But I had taken notice that a lot of the country guys were playing those guitars, and I just wondered if there was something really special about it. But
and you get some that play good, and you get some that you just don't really connect with. And so if I don't connect with it, I'm onto something else.
Yeah. Well, as you should be, as well as you should be. I mean, there's so much out there. There's so many people offering such incredible stuff.
Well, yeah.
And they're all doing it just a little bit different. And sometimes now, granted, a good player can get anything he wants out of just about anything, but if you have the opportunity, to check out something else, and one or two of those little things just makes it that much nicer for the player. If you can go that way, then hey, why not, man? Because there's so much out there offered right now.
It's that old pair of jeans, man.
Yeah, I mean that's it. I mean it doesn't really. I mean it's a good playing guitar, and there's nothing wrong with it. It wasn't connecting with my hands and the feel of it. I can't even explain it. It was just one of those things. I sold it and got something else. The one the one that I really dig out of another builder out of Nashville. His name is Forrest Lee Jr. I don't know if you guys know him or not.
No,
we don't.
No.
He builds a great telly. That one has a B bender in it that he builds, and it's just fantastic.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So that's the one that's used on the Honeyjack track on that Outcast song.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. What other gear? What's your amp of choice? And do you even use an amp anymore?
I do.
Some guys don't.
Yeah, some don't. We're all into the Axe effects and all that stuff, which I just don't. I've not gone that route. Lately, I'm just using a quilter.
Oh, really?
Using the quilter takes pedals really well. And, if I'm switching between rock and country, it's just a click of the pedal and it's right where I need it to be.
Very cool. Another amp that I haven't played yet, but it's it's a solid,
man.
It's a solid state thing, but they really have a very good reputation.
Yeah, it's amazing, because it's funny you said it's a solid state thing, and I've never been a huge fan of solid state stuff. And a buddy of mine had mentioned it. It was the tone block. That's what he mentioned. And so I said, man, I'll have to check it out. And I played through one. I was like, that's bizarre how tubish that sounds, and even more bizarre how it takes pedals so well. I mean, it's a great little amp. And so especially it makes it easier when you're gigging all the time and you got to take an amp. It's light. And then I take for a backup. I just take a tone block as a backup, and that fits right in my gig bag.
Cool.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey,
does it have a lot of gain?
You can push it with a lot of gain. It'll get there. I don't use it on the gain channel. Basically, I just use since I wish we could play places where you could bring your Marshalls out or the Buddhas or you check out your East amplifiers. I'd like to check those out. But I mean, it's everywhere. So, especially when you're playing a lot of these casinos, I mean, it's all just it's so low volume. Yeah. It's such a low volume that you got to just be quiet and, electronic drums in some of the places. It's just kind of bizarre. So, it works out, but, I used it. Yeah. We opened up for Styx and I used it on a big stage and it just cranked.
Wow.
Yeah, so it'll basically do whatever you want it to do.
Yeah, the only reason I was asking about gain is, I'm not a proponent of a ton of gain, but it's generally amps that their primary function is not a megaton of overdrive, but can get some overdrive, but they have a really good bass clean sound. Those are the ones that generally always take pedals the best.
Yeah.
Because there's an openness and headroom in the front end, that allows the pedal to do what it does. And that's really, if you're a pedal guy, that's what you look for in an amp. You look for something that it doesn't have a ton of saturated gain. It has more of the ability to get a better clean sound, and then your pedal is going to sound like what the pedal is supposed to sound like, if that's what you're looking for.
Right.
Well, there you go. There's the secret. I'm going to have to cut this part out.
Yeah.
Did I just give something away?
I think you just gave away your whole thing, man. What the hell?
Yeah.
Well, there's a bit of information that everybody can use right there.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So pedals, what are you using?
I am currently using for overdrive. It's a Wampler Pinnacle.
Okay.
Definitely Wampler.
Yeah,
it's definitely Wampler.
Definitely Wampler. That and the one I just got that I really dig is that exotic. What's it called? I can't remember what it'll come to me. I just went blank. Soul driven pedal. That's what it is. Soul driven.
Ah.
That's a keeper. So that's on the board now too. So, and I've basically just been using that. It's based on an Alan Hines pedal. You guys listen to Alan Hines?
No.
LA guitar player.
No.
So check him out. Yeah, check him out. Pull up that on YouTube and check out the Soul Driven pedal. I mean, it's just it's great.
Looking at it now, it's a 4-knob pedal. It's exotic Soul Driven pedal. Is it made by Exotic Effects?
Exotic, yeah, that's
okay.
It's great. I mean, it's
how much I know.
It's a great pedal. It's got a great mid bump in it and everything. And it sounds really great.
You can get it from our friends at Sweetwater for $151.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah, hey, why not? $7 a month for 24 months.
Yeah, there you go. sign it up.
Yeah, the Wampler stuff is great too.
Yeah, definitely Wampler.
Oh yeah. Wampler makes some good products, that's for sure.
Yeah, we interviewed him and we finally met him at NAMM and just what an awesome guy. And his wife had like 8 gallons of Purell. So we,
hand sanitizer was everywhere.
Yeah. It's like you could take a shower in it. It was nice.
Everybody had it. And it was necessary.
Yeah, and you still got the flu, Jeff. How did I miss that? I can't walk outside without getting pneumonia.
I went through all of them. I guarantee you, I got it on the plane.
Oh, because on the way back you sat by that guy.
Yeah, there's nothing like that. I can't stand being on the plane. Then all of a sudden someone sneezes. You're like, oh, thanks.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, and you could be 15 rows in front, and you're like, well, I'm getting that cold.
Yep, perfect.
Just give it a couple minutes. It'll be right here, my little air vent above my seat.
Yeah, watching it come this way.
It's like the cloud of death.
What did you guys think of the Nashville NAMM?
Nashville, well, last year's was I didn't do those last year.
I haven't been to Nashville yet. I've only done the Anaheim.
Right. We did Anaheim in January.
Yes.
Okay, I thought you said you went to Nashville. Okay, yeah.
No, it was January winter NAMM,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is in
It's called Skype. It'll make you think that I say all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So TJ, gigging wise, you out, you promoting, you doing anything?
Man, I'm always out. I've got 6 gigs coming up this week. You know, it's 6 gigs in 7 days. It's like I said, I mean, you got to diversify your stuff. So I do a lot of acoustic stuff during the week, and then on weekends, Thursday through Saturdays or Sundays, I'm playing with bands in either festivals or casinos or clubs, wherever it is, wherever their gigs are, I'll go play them.
Cool.
How about that?
And that's I guess that's with the Kings. Are you doing anything with the Honeyjack? Is there a release we should be pushing, or a new release, or?
We're working on new material, and we're excited about the new material. And I think the new material is really cool. I think if you guys dig the 8-track songs, you'll dig these that we're working on. We're excited about those. But yeah, I mean we got the Honeyjack's got we're in Walmart land up here, so they got their annual shareholders festival coming up a couple weeks, so we're playing at that with them, and we're just always out doing something.
Very
sweet.
Cool.
And then of course the instructional stuff.
Yeah, back in the day, I had all these people always asking me if I would give them lessons, and I would just be honest and say, hey man, I'm not the guy to sit down and teach you how to play a G chord. I'm just not. I mean, I don't have the patience. I don't know what it is. I just you can learn it on YouTube. I always tell them, hey, just go to YouTube and learn it, and that's where you can learn everything. And so I was just I was sitting there talking to my wife one day. I said, I should do that. Why not? I mean, I should do my own site. I should create my own lessons. And so what I did is I just kind of wrote pieces, and one, in country and rock and blues, whatever it may be, and chocked them full of every technique you could think of, lick you can think of, and, break it down lick by lick. And, you get the tab, you get the backing track, you get me sitting there walking you through everything. And it's crazy, man. I think that's the best thing I've ever done. I mean, it's nuts. I mean, I was just amazed that people would be interested in it. But it's the country stuff. I mean, it gets downloaded in all over the world.
That's really cool. Well, there are guys that can teach you how to play a G chord, and the opening. Once you get really good, they'll teach you the opening riff, the Stairway to Heaven. But
I need to learn that.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
I'll show you. But yeah, I mean the kind of things you do, that's for me that I would consider that pretty darn advanced, and for that to be accessible to people and to have somebody break it down as to how to do it, that's kind of the next step up. That's not your that's not your local guitar teacher, teaching you, Mel Bay Volume 1 back in the day. This is something quite a bit more advanced than that. And, right. I'm sure that's why it gets downloaded, because not everybody can do that.
Yeah. And it's, I think when you just said, it's advanced, a lot of people have told me, oh, you should have done something that was, for, intermediate students or beginning students. And I thought, I agree with them. Hey, that might have been another avenue too, but I'm kind of happy with the lessons that are out there, and they're cool. I think they're they're cool pieces. And so if someone can learn all that stuff and play along to the backing track that they get with it, I mean, that's great. And you get emails all the time from people saying, hey man, thank you so much. This has opened doors for me. This is, you know, for lack of a better, helped me bust out of the rut that I was in. And you know, it's great.
Well, that's why it's called RutBusting.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
It beats John Petrucci's home video where you go, I don't know if he has a heartbeat or not. He just talks in his one monotone.
Yeah.
Great guy, great lesson. My God, that is the most boring thing to watch.
Yeah, some of those old ones are funny, man. I mean, you get like the old. I remember seeing on the VHS ones, like the Richie Kotzen ones, and then he's playing a pinball machine at the beginning and all that. It's just the dialogue was so funny.
Well, Paul Gilbert, he had rock guitar, or what was it called? I think it was something intense rock guitar or something. But anyway, he tried to outdo himself on every video, and by the last one, he was wearing a sombrero, and they had him in front of a green screen where they were walking in a junkyard of washing machines and dryers back and forth while he's just, you know, wailing on this song. And
oh my God.
He just would do the goofiest stuff. But, you know, his instructional videos, my God, you know. So, yeah, definitely. They're still available, right? I mean, it's still out there. Yeah, well, look at that. We're going to drive people that way.
Yeah,
that's
man.
right.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like, you know, I don't think that, you know, people are always asking. You mentioned Danny Gatton earlier. You know, it's everyone's looking for these secrets of stuff from players, which is what I always tell people. Hey, you can learn a lot from a lesson, but you got to go watch them. You got to go watch them play, and you got to kind of see how they're doing things. And if you dig it, I mean, that's how you're going to learn stuff the best way. But you know, you can catch their secrets in little things, kind of. I don't know, kind of like Jeff, like you gave that tip with amps. I mean, there's an interview out there that kind of opened up the door for me with Danny Gatton, that he said, they were interviewing about his style. They said it's very unique. He said, you know, it's nothing really difficult. I just play in the wrong keys. And then they moved on. That was it. And I remember listening. I was like, man, he just gave away his secret. There's a secret right there. I mean, he's just, if he's playing, you know, if the one is the key you're playing, he's playing out of a 2 minor. He might be playing out of a 5 minor, or, you know, whatever he's doing. That's where he's getting these outside notes where he comes back in. And he just gave you his secret right there. You just got to kind of figure it out and apply it yourself, which a lot of that stuff is in the rut busting lessons. I mean, there's a lot of those little tidbits in there that I hope that helps people bust out of their rut, open up some doors.
Yeah.
It's funny, you know. I'm trying to think who it was that I was watching an interview of, and you know, kind of a jazz guy, more or less, you know, jazz fusion type of guy. Cannot remember who it was, but you know, his trick a lot of the time was he would just move everything up 1 fret. Yeah. Just for a little bit here, a little bit there, and it's like it just throws you for a loop, and then he's back. Yeah. You know, but that was one of his little secrets. Just as you're playing, just bump everything up 1 fret and then come back.
Sucker punch. It's a sucker punch. It bends your ear and just takes your ear. You know, your ears gets accustomed to listening to that, you know, certain scales, and all of a sudden you throw a sucker punch. Everyone's, you know, head turns and they all look up and say, "What was that?" But like you said, it could be something just as simple as just moving everything up just a half step, playing through, kind of resolving back if you want. Yeah. Right.
So do you have a website?
Yeah, there's RutBusting Guitar has a website. Honeyjack has a website.
Right.
Uncrowned Kings has a website too. It's
hell. Look at that. They're all going to be on the show, and they're going to live in
perpetuity.
Yeah. And I keep saying it's forever.
That's right. It is forever. That's kind of what the
till the EMP hits, and then all these shows go to shit. But while we still got electricity and people can get it, that's where it's going to live.
You know what? I'm building a new server, Mick, with tubes, so it'll be okay.
Awesome. Yeah, no, the Honeyjack has the 8-track. You know, they can get on 8-track and stream. You know, it's on stream or buy it on all the platforms: iTunes, Spotify, CD Baby.
There you go.
YouTube has whole album or live clips. Amazon, all of them are out there, and they all have it.
Yeah, awesome. And if you buy it from Amazon, you can go to Amps and Access Cast and go through there. Or actually, ampsandaxes.com and buy it through there. That throws us, it throws them. Look at that. It's love all over the place.
Right. TJ gets a bit. We get a bit.
Yeah.
And everyone's happy. And you get music.
Yeah, really good stuff, too.
Right.
Yeah. That's awesome. I'm glad you guys dig that stuff, man. That's we had a lot of fun writing those tunes.
Well, that's what the show's all about.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Well, if you can't have fun, come on. It's music. If you can't have fun, at least most of the time. Yep. I realize it's a business too, but
remember, you got to be a cool dude, because if you're not, there's 3 other guys or 4 other guys or 5 other guys that have to ride in the van with you. They'll want to try to kill you.
Yeah, it's all about the hang. You got to be able to hang. If you can't, then you're not going to have a very good time.
Yeah,
that's it.
Exactly.
All right. Well, we're gonna let the rest of the audience hang. We'll let you hang too, and get back to doing what you're doing and making music and having fun. So, TJ, thank you so very much, man, for taking the time with us.
You bet, man. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, and please stay in contact with us when you guys release something. Let us know, and then we'll talk about it, push it down the road a little bit.
There you go.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'll hit you. I'll find that little clip, Jeff, and I'll send that thing to you so you can listen to the
Buddha.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. I'd love to hear it, man. That'd be great.
Yeah, and cool. You know what I'll do off air? I'll make sure the contacts are together, and that way you guys can talk East Amplification.
Yeah, there you go.
At eastamplification.com.
Awesome.
Look at that. I'm plugging.
I did listen to those. I checked those out, man. Those are some good sounding amps.
Thank you.
Did you see the D-style comparison? Did you see that little video?
Don't know if I did or not.
Oh, that one will blow your mind.
I watched the guy do that. I was watching the different styles, and when the guy did the AC/DC demonstration, I was like, "Well, listen to that." It's like, man, that perked my ears up. It's like, whoo.
Was it?
Oh, that's one of Jason's
Sadias
demos that he had done for me. Yeah, very cool.
Speaking of Jason, not to go off topic and not to hold you up any longer, but my God, is he doing some crazy Yngwie stuff on YouTube now? Holy crap! That guy is like, I don't know what the hell he was like. He's like this jazz guy that does all this stuff, and he is just ripping some crazy solos that have been on, Yngwie stuff and Dream Theater and stuff like that. Man, you got to see this, Jeff.
Yeah, I think TJ, should watch Jason. Jason should watch TJ, and then they'll cross pollinate styles.
Jason should check out if he's an Yngwie fan. There's a studio here in town called Crisp Studios, and Darren Crisp always likes to do some songs that are different, kind of cover songs and put our own twist on things. So he hit me up and he said, "Hey, would you be interested in doing this song by Yngwie, I Am a Viking?" And I said, "Man," I said, I'm not really an Yngwie guy, but yeah, I said, I'll do it if I'll stay a little bit true to his solo, but I want to do my own thing on it." And he said, "Man, you can do whatever you want." So wow. It's turned into some fun stuff. We've done that one's out there. I think that's on my YouTube channel. And then we did we just did Shapes of Things by the Gary Moore version.
Oh, wow.
Look at that.
It turned out cool. But the cool thing about it is, you can do your own thing on it. And he's like, "Yeah, man, hey, make it your own thing." I was like, I don't want to just copy somebody. I want to put my own stamp on it.
Sure.
Very cool.
Well, look at that.
Yeah. Look at it. Putting your own stamp on Yngwie.
Yeah.
Wow.
Man, I'll guarantee you when you listen, you'll still say, "Well, that's still very Yngwie-ish," but it's not copying him.
That in and of itself is very impressive.
Yes, it is.
And then to take it and to throw your own twist into it, I got to hear this now.
I saw him when I was 14. I saw Alcatraz open up for Night Ranger.
I saw Alcatraz open up for Ted Nugent.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
It's mind-blowing, man. I was sitting there listening, going, "What is this guy doing?"
Yeah. And my my encounter was, I got there before the show and they let us in. This was at Merriweather, Jeff.
Oh, wow.
They let us in, me and my friend. And so we're just like, well, I don't want to stand in line. Let's go sit down. So we went and sat down in our seats, and this guy comes out, and we don't know who the hell this is, right? I never even heard of this band, Alcatraz, prior to this. I was there for Ted Nugent. And this guy just starts going crazy. And I said to my buddy, it was this guy, Rob, I said to him, "What the hell is the guitar player like if the roadie can play like that?" Because that's what I thought it was, right? I didn't know this. I didn't know this Yngwie, whoever that was.
Right.
Yeah.
So then they start playing. I go, dude, that was the guy.
Yeah.
He's throwing the guitar in the rafters, and oh my God, man, old Yngwie was crazy.
I think he was 19 when I saw him. I remember. I mean, it's just mind blowing.
He was a child. Yes.
And he was probably still drinking glasses of wine then.
Could be.
Yeah,
Unleashing fury even back then.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Wow. All right. Well, TJ.
Yeah, man.
It's been a blast. Thank you very much for taking the time. Much continued success, my friend. And let us know what new goings-ons are goings-on.
We'll do it, man. Thanks again for having me on.
It's all good, man. Have a great rest of the day.
You too.
And there you have the story.
How about that, man?
Yeah.
Guy's an amazing player. Everybody's got to check this guy out.
I really thought that like he
grew up
ate, drank, slept, dreamt Danny.
Yeah.
From what I saw. And it's like to find out that he didn't, like, that was just more recent because he was into like rock before that. You know, that's that for me was a little impressive.
I was expecting like the Johnny Hyland story, right?
Right.
Because like Johnny Hyland can play a lot of styles, but that's where he cut his teeth.
Right.
You know, and like you're saying, and I understand what you're saying, it's not like, you know, any kind of doubt, but it's amazement because that style is, it doesn't come naturally. You know what I mean? It's, when you get into the chicken picking and especially the Danny style, I mean, you know, look, if he unlocked that thing, that's amazing.
Yeah. It's like, you know, some of the phrasing that goes along with that and just like the long legato phrased lines and melodies that go along. Yeah, that go along with that. It's just, you know, it would take a long time to just start from scratch and figure out one of those lines.
Yeah.
Like even the beginning of it to figure out, okay, if it starts here, okay, these three notes are great. Where does it go from there? And it's when he does it, it's like watching Danny do it. It's like, it's just so fluid. It's almost like the brain thinks that way and the hands just go there. It's that fluid.
And you know, Jeff, like I always say, there's virtuosos everywhere. We just, you know, they're not, all the potential is not thrown in front of everybody, and especially today, right? I mean, you know, getting discovered is, well, you'd have a better chance of winning the lotto twice. And it's a very, you know, look, it's tough on musicians, and this is why we do what we do, to try to educate people, you know, pay attention to live music. Don't fight with other bands. Try to be, you know, camaraderie. You got to build this thing. This is what, you know, this is how America was made. But so, you know, he's probably very virtuoso. You know, it's like the next, you know, Guthrie or something, you know? I mean, these guys, they exist. They walk amongst us. Yes, the alien ship landed sometime and they all got off. But to be able to pull that style up like that, this dude walks a little bit of a different beat than most.
Yeah, but I mean, how, you know, just think about this. Like, how crazy is it? You know, they're in the club, the owner locks the door at 2:00, and you know, somebody comes up to him and says, "Hey, man, you teach me sweep picking,
and I'll teach you chicken picking.
I'll teach you the chicken picking." Right, so he's already mastered the sweep picking, and now we're going to learn the chicken picking.
Well, there you go.
Which he does as good as anybody else. It's like, you know, there's a little bit of talent there, man. There's a little bit of talent.
Exactly. There's this, you know, me and Mara had the discussion when I was on his show, and I said to him, you know, for guitar players on average, if you really put in the 10,000 hours and you've done your homework and you've played in bands and you go through this and you get some years under your belt and you don't give up and you know, you just do it. We're all in that like 85% range, right? We can kind of hold our own. Some do it better than others. You know, some not as good as those, but you know, it's somewhere in that ether, like 65% maybe to 85, but it's that extra 15% that those guys are the guys that have this natural
They rise
thing.
to the top, man. They just rise to the top.
Yeah, it's the natural ability, you know, that piece was like, well, he was God gave him that. where all the mechanics is the 10,000 hours, but that other thing that kind of just unlocks, that's the juice. That's the difference between some guy that plays in college football and a pro, you know? It's the 15%.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
So
exactly. There you go.
How did that sound? Was that good?
I like that.
There you go.
I like that.
It's words with Mick. Now shut up, Mick.
And he could have easily wound up in playing sports.
It sounds like and you know what, that whole athleticism that on his with the rest of his siblings, right? That translation, look at Zach Wild. He was a football guy, man, and so was Nuno Betancourt. Both of them really good football players in high school.
Wow.
Yeah. So there might be some correlation with that talent thing,
Could be. Manhandle the neck.
Hey, you never know. So until next time, my friend.
That's right. When we will further discuss
football, why people do what they do, and football. I'm Mick Marcelino.
That's right. The king of football. Jeff Bobert. I'm still trying to figure it out.
And we're always saying
onward.
Be sure and follow the show on Twitter @AmpsandAxes. Also, make sure you like the show on Facebook. For news, comments, and everything else, visit the webpage ampsandaxescast.com. Thanks for listening.